Michael Carrick has obviously done a very good job in his two games so far as interim head coach at Manchester United. Now, in this video, we'll be looking at reasons why Manchester United might keep Michael Carrick on as a full-time manager in the long run, reasons against why Manchester United shouldn't, giving you an overview. And listen, Carrick, listen, I don't think he could have imagined it going any better than what it has. Two games, 6 points from Arsenal and Manchester City. As starts go, there is no better results than that, in my opinion. I don't think there's any. And also the performances that he has produced and the way in which he's turned his team around in such a short space of time is truly remarkable because before Carrick came in, the squad looked depleted. Darren Fletcher even said himself they're looking lacking confidence. There wasn't much hope, there wasn't much kind of confidence, as I said, in this team to go forward. And now you look at in the space of 2 weeks, we've beaten Manchester City convincingly at home. And yes, the Arsenal game was very difficult, but I thought United took the game to Arsenal and thoroughly deserved to get the win. Now let's look at some of the reasons why Ineos and the Glazers may consider keeping on Michael Carrick as the interim manager. So let's get into it now. The first reason is he's shown a clear kind of pathway and pattern in the two games already. The way in which he wants to build up, the way in which he goes about things, getting the left back forward and doing all these sort of tactical tweaks. And yes, it won't be sort of implemented easily and straight away across those two games. But as I said, the signs are definitely there in what he wants to do. Quick counter attacks, transitional play, as I said, defensively being very sharp, compact 4-4-2 shape. It'd be interesting to see how he sets up against a Fulham team in a totally different approach. But as you can see, the pattern is there already, and I don't think that's something that we really saw with Amorim. Really, it's a clear 4-2-3-1. Your attackers, your fluid number 9, your wingers get inside, and I think the clear pattern is something that does make it a positive, and there's sort of a direction that he wants to build with. Yes, obviously he's initially brought in on a short term, but if he continues to do well with the way in which he's playing, you do expect him to kind of be given it long term. As I said, the kind of development of players as well. Another reason why I think Manchester United would keep him was the fact that he's known a lot of the players, and he's already been working with them. By the time the summer comes, it will be very difficult to bring in another manager, and pressure will obviously continue to rise for Manchester United to give him the permanent job. You know, as I said, a lot of the players that he knows already. I think he knows Tom Heaton, he knows Shaw, he knows Maguire, he knows Dallo, Bruno Fernandes. He's worked with Kobbie Mainoo before. So he does know a lot of these players, and I think that is obviously a positive in that he's familiarised himself with the squad already. And I think he's someone who the players like, the way in which the likes of Ahmad, he was another one of those players who Hugh Carrick's coach before. The way in which he talked about, he knows what to do. He's keeping the simple things, and he's telling them to do the simple things, and he has a very good relationship with the players. As I said, he said Carrick knows how to get the best out of them. Carrick's giving them good advice. Like, it's all about the relationship with the manager, and I think so far the positive vibes are there because the players get the manager, and ultimately that is the most important thing. You need to be able to understand your manager. You look at sort of how it was with Amorim; it was very tense. A lot of players had fallen outs. Mainoo wasn't playing. That caused a lot of uproar. The kind of dismissal, which I thought was correct, of players like Garnacho, Sancho, Højlund leaving, bringing in Sesko, keeping Onana and starting him in games. In the consistent 3-4-3 formation, the fallout of players like Martinez squaring up in him in training. I think, listen, it's only two games and we don't know how it's going to go, but right now the positive vibes between the players and the manager is something that is very, very good and ultimately a very key part in sort of football these days. Now, another reason, he's a yes man for Ineos and the Glazers, and he's less demanding. Say you go and get out a Tuchel or Nagelsmann or an Enrique, they're going to be very demanding and they're going to want full control. Whereas you look at Carrick, he's going to be someone who's going to be more of a yes man, someone who's going to kind of not really care who they bring in. Obviously, will have sort of a plan in which he does, but he wouldn't be less demanding. And I think that's something that Ineos want, and that's where they were probably going to go with Solskjaer. So I think the next manager, if it's not Carrick that they do bring in, would be someone who ultimately knows their place. They're a head coach. Ineos make all the decisions, and I think Carrick suits that well on an Ineos perspective. I think that's wrong. I think there should be full consultation between the manager and the hierarchy at the team to bring in the correct players for the club. Obviously the head coach, the people at the top should have the final say, but it's all about that consultation. I think that's something that did ultimately fall out with Ruben Amorim at the club. So they're the reasons. Listen, he knows the players very, very well. He's won 2 of his first 2 games and seeing how the results go, that could be a positive. He knows the players very, very well. And as I said, you can see and on a good personal level for his career to grow. Like he had a job at Middlesbrough. Could this be the potential next step in his career? Now let's look at some of the reasons why Manchester United shouldn't go with him on a permanent basis. Number one, we've been down the road again. ex-player comes in, does very good on an interim basis, gets the full-time job, and ultimately doesn't kind of reach the heights in what you expect. And again, I don't think United should be making that same mistake again. I think it would be quite a silly decision, really. Now, again, emotion will play part of it. I mean, if we win the remaining 15 games, I probably will be saying keep Carrick. But as of now, looking at this moment, it would be a poor decision because, as I said, we've been it down the road before. We've seen how it all ends. Yes, it'd be a good buzz, but I think on a side for Carrick, if the football is good and is much better, then that could potentially be in a reason to 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 allow him to stay. Now, another reason is, can he win the league at Manchester United? Ultimately, that's where United are looking to kind of build and go for in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. And can Carrick be that sort of manager to win a Premier League at a club? I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but that sort of inexperience that he hasn't been a coach for in terms of on a senior level for a long period of time, and that would be a cause for concern. And you look at, as I said, where United to go, you need a top level manager with a European experience. I mean, he has got pedigree in England. As I said, he's managed Manchester United before. He would have got a lot of experience from his time at the club. Now he's got experienced coaches, but the ultimate aim is, will he be able to win the Premier League? And as of now, I don't think Carrick can do that. Now, another reason is he would be a yes man, and that is ultimately a negative. I think Carrick would be someone who would be a yes man, and that's ultimately someone that the Glazers want. They want someone who can come in, they can have full control over, make all the decisions, and ultimately that only goes one way, and that's what happened with Amorim. You get massive fallout. You have people like Wilcox and Barada interfering in training and making the manager make decisions, and that ultimately leads it down one way. Now, obviously, this could potentially be different with Michael Carrick. But there are some of the reasons why I don't want to sign, and I wouldn't keep Carrick on a permanent basis. As I said, we've been down the road before. He's inexperienced, and is he able to get this team to be winning the league? I don't know. I hope so. Now, to conclude my thoughts, I would say, depending on how Carrick does in the last kind of few games, like 15 games at United, he's won at Arsenal. He's won against Manchester City at home. I think it would be interesting to see how the remaining few games go. As I said, if he wins all of them, there will be a massive external pressure on United to keep him, which will probably be the decision that ultimately they fold in to do. But as of now, at this current moment, I wouldn't go with Carrick, and I wouldn't going forward. I think he's a great manager for the interim basis, and he's a very, very good guy. He speaks very, very well, and he's got this God to play, and he gets the DNA of the club. But as I said, long term, for me, it would be a concern if Manchester United were to keep Carrick beyond the short term contract that he has until the end of the season. But let me know your thoughts, as you always do, in the comments on Michael Carrick. And yeah, let's see what does happen. But I mean, 6 out of 6 can't really go wrong. The start's been fantastic. The way he tactically outclassed Arsenal, the way in which he tactically outclassed Man City, was amazing, and hopefully there's a lot more positive things to come from Michael Carrick at Manchester United. But let me know your thoughts.